Have you ever walked past a wooden house that's been standing for 50, 60, even 100 years and wondered how it's still holding up while newer homes down the street already show cracks, rot, and sagging porches after just a decade or two? It's not luck, and it's not some rare type of wood that nobody uses anymore. The truth is far more practical, and once you understand it, you'll start noticing the same pattern in every long-lasting wooden home you come across. The hidden reason some wooden homes last 50 years or more comes down to how the home breathes, how it sheds water, and how consistently it was maintained from the very beginning. Today, we're going to break down exactly what makes the difference between a wooden home that crumbles early and one that becomes a multi-generational legacy. The first thing to understand is that wood itself is not the enemy. Wood is remarkably durable when it's protected properly, and there are homes built from timber frames centuries ago that are still standing today. What actually destroys wooden structures isn't time, it's moisture. Water is the single biggest threat to any wood-framed home, and the homes that last the longest are the ones where moisture management was treated as a priority from day one, not an afterthought. This is the foundation of everything else we're going to talk about, so keep it in mind as we go through each factor. Let's start with the foundation itself, because this is where so many wooden homes go wrong before a single wall is even built. A home's foundation needs proper drainage and a solid vapor barrier to keep ground moisture from wicking up into the wood framing above. Homes that have lasted half a century or more almost always have foundations that were built with a slight elevation off the ground, along with gravel beds or French drains that redirect water away from the structure. When a foundation traps moisture instead of repelling it, the wood sitting directly above it slowly absorbs that dampness year after year, leading to rot that often goes unnoticed until it's a major structural problem. If you're a homeowner concerned about the long-term health of your home, checking your foundation drainage and grading around your house is one of the simplest and most impactful things you can do. Next, let's talk about roofing, because a roof is essentially the umbrella that protects every wooden component underneath it. Homes that stand strong for generations tend to have roofs that were properly maintained, with shingles replaced before they failed, rather than after leaks started. But it's not just about the shingles. The overhangs matter just as much. Older, well-built wooden homes often have generous roof overhangs that push rainwater away from the siding and walls, rather than letting it run straight down the exterior. This single design choice dramatically reduces how much water ever touches the wood siding in the first place. If your home has minimal overhangs, it doesn't mean disaster is coming, but it does mean you need to be more vigilant about gutters, downspouts, and directing water at least several feet away from your foundation. Ventilation is another massive piece of this puzzle, and it's one that most people never think about until something goes wrong. Wood needs to be able to dry out after it gets wet, whether from rain, humidity, or condensation. Homes that last decades typically have well-ventilated attics and crawl spaces, allowing air to circulate and moisture to escape rather than becoming trapped. When moisture gets sealed into wall cavities or attic spaces without anywhere to go, you get a slow, invisible breeding ground for rot and mold that can compromise structural wood from the inside out, often long before any visible signs appear on the surface. This is why so many home inspectors emphasize proper soffit vents, ridge vents, and crawl space ventilation as non-negotiable features of a healthy wooden home. Now let's talk about something a lot of people underestimate, which is the quality and maintenance of exterior siding and paint. Paint and sealants aren't just for looks. They function as a protective skin for the wood underneath, blocking out rain and humidity while still allowing some breathability. Homes that have survived 50-plus years typically have owners, sometimes multiple generations of owners, who repainted or resealed the exterior every 5 to 10 years without exception. This might sound like a small cosmetic task, but it is one of the most consistent variables separating homes that age gracefully from ones that deteriorate rapidly. Once paint starts cracking or peeling, it takes very little time for water to start seeping into the wood grain underneath, and once that cycle starts, it accelerates quickly. Another factor that's easy to overlook is the type of wood and how it was originally treated before construction. Older homes, particularly those built with old-growth lumber, often use denser, slower-grown wood that naturally resists decay better than the faster-grown lumber commonly used today. That said, this doesn't mean modern homes are doomed. Pressure-treated wood, proper sealants, and modern moisture barriers can compensate for differences in wood density when applied correctly. The key takeaway here is that whether your home was built decades ago or is brand new, the wood needs some form of ongoing protection, whether that's from its natural density or from consistent human maintenance. Termites and other pests are another silent threat that determines whether a wooden home reaches the half-century mark or fails much earlier. Homes that last a long time usually have a history of regular pest inspections and preventative treatments, especially in regions where termites are common. Termite damage often goes undetected for years because it happens inside the wood structure, invisible from the outside. until a homeowner notices sagging floors or hollow-sounding walls. If you own a wooden home, scheduling an annual termite and pest inspection is one of the cheapest insurance policies you can buy for your home's structural future. Let's also talk about something that ties all of this together, which is the mindset of proactive maintenance versus reactive repair. This might be the single most important hidden factor of all. Homes that last 50 years or more are rarely homes where the owners waited for something to break before fixing it. Instead, these are homes where small issues, a slightly loose shingle, a hairline crack in the caulking around a window, a bit of peeling paint on the north-facing wall, were addressed within weeks or months rather than years. Deferred maintenance is the quiet killer of wooden homes. A small leak that goes unaddressed for 2 years can cause more damage than that same leak fixed within the first month. This is why walking around your home every season and doing a simple visual inspection can add years, even decades, to its lifespan. Let's talk about the specific areas of a wooden home that deserve the most attention if you want it to be one of those 50-year survivors. Start with your windows and door frames, since these are common entry points for water intrusion. Check the caulking and weather stripping every year, and reseal anything that looks cracked or worn. Next, inspect your deck or porch, since these outdoor wooden structures take the brunt of weather exposure and often show early warning signs of rot before the main structure does. If your deck boards are soft, discolored, or showing fungal growth, it's a strong signal that similar conditions could be developing elsewhere on the home, and it's worth having a professional take a closer look. Your gutters deserve special mention here too, because clogged or damaged gutters are one of the most common preventable causes of water damage to wooden siding and foundations. When gutters overflow, water cascades down the side of the house instead of being redirected away, soaking the same section of siding and foundation repeatedly every time it rains. Cleaning your gutters at least twice a year, and immediately after major storms, is a small task that pays enormous dividends over the life of your home. Basements and crawl spaces are another area where the long-term health of a wooden home is often decided. Excess humidity in these spaces can slowly wick moisture up into the floor joists and support beams above. Using a dehumidifier in damp basements, sealing any visible cracks in the foundation walls, and ensuring proper exterior grading all contribute to keeping these hidden spaces dry, which in turn protects the wood framing that depends on them staying that way. It's also worth mentioning that climate plays a role in all of this, but perhaps not in the way most people assume. It's not simply that dry climates preserve wood better than wet ones, although that is generally true. It's that homes built with their specific climate in mind, whether that means extra roof overhangs in rainy regions, elevated foundations in flood-prone areas, or specific wood treatments in humid climates, tend to outlast homes that used a one-size-fits-all construction approach, regardless of local conditions. If you're renovating or building a wooden home, working with local contractors who understand your specific regional challenges can make a significant long-term difference. So, what does all of this mean for you as a homeowner today? It means that a wooden home lasting 50 years or more isn't about winning some genetic lottery of superior lumber. It's about consistent, unglamorous maintenance combined with smart, original construction choices around drainage, ventilation, and moisture control. If you already own a wooden home, the good news is that it's never too late to start protecting it properly. Begin with a walk around your property this weekend. Look at your gutters, your foundation grading, your paint condition, and your roof overhangs. Address small issues immediately rather than letting them linger. Schedule that pest inspection you've been putting off. These small, consistent actions are the actual hidden reason behind every wooden home that has stood proudly for half a century or longer, and they're entirely within your control, starting today. If this video helped you understand your home a little better, consider sharing it with a friend or family member who owns an older wooden house, and let us know in the comments what maintenance routine has worked best for keeping your own home in great shape year after year.